crazy boss or boss who considers his workers as slaves.
Yeah, it was weird. Cringe. The landlord will not show you this apartment. No, because he saw that you're a foreigner.
And I was shouting through the window like, stop, what are you doing? I was coming to people and asking maybe we need to call the police.
Since he was hitting his own dog, that's not a problem. And then I asked the policeman, what if it was a child? And they said, again, we will not intervene.
Hi everybody, it's Alina and this is my video about crazy stories in China. Today with me here is Nastya.
Hi.
Nastya, introduce yourself please.
Hi, my name is Nastya and I used to live in China for almost 6 years. And during that time I had a lot of weird stories that I'd like to share with you.
Yeah, Nastya is my friend. Now she lives in Canada. We just wanted to have a talk and discuss these crazy stories. Should we do some disclaimer about people not be too sensitive when we tell our own
Yeah,
experience?
of course, we 100% we're not jumping into conclusions and judgments about the whole Chinese culture. People, every society, every community, every family has a bastard. So it depends. So we're just sharing our experience and it's just like a friend's talk. It's good to hear. It's just a relaxing video, not informational, like nothing you can learn and take out from here. Maybe just relax. Well, if you go to China, maybe listen to us, or maybe don't. Maybe you'll change your mind. But anyway, like nothing serious.
Probably I will start with the story that Nastya was a witness of and she also helped us to solve it. The title would be, what title? Crazy boss or boss who considers his workers as slaves? I don't know.
Lao Ban. Let's give it a Chinese name. Lao Ban.
If you're gonna work in China, you need to keep in mind that sometimes this kind of stories can happen. When my husband found his first work in China, his boss seemed like a nice person. He helped us a lot, went with us to a bureau to make visa, etc. And my husband worked for him for 2 years. And after finishing his contract, my husband decided to change the company. And he told his boss 2 months in advance about his decision. Actually, according to the law, you can do so just 1 month in advance, or when contract is finished, you can both decide equally if you want to work together for the next year. Is it true, Nastya?
I mean, yeah, it's true, but I guess it's like true for locals, like for Chinese citizens who can fight for their rights. But
yeah.
It's not the same with foreigners.
His boss was furious and he said so many nasty things about my husband. He accused him of betrayal and he humiliated him and threatened him. Apart from that, he didn't want to provide him with a release letter. Without this release letter, you cannot work legally in China and you cannot transfer to the other company. Every day we try different methods to solve this problem. We went to labor bureau. We went and consulted with a lawyer. We even asked our Chinese friend to talk to this boss because, maybe Chinese people understand each other better and they know some ways to talk which we don't know. Witnessed all this situation and she even know this boss. She witnessed the conversation where her husband is Chinese, helped us to talk to the boss and she can she can share her emotions about that.
That was so tough. Like, I really hope that he can come and fix it. Like, maybe it was some misunderstanding, I don't know, in the language or something. But no, that's a whole personality thing. And he's Rama's boss really believed that he was a traitor and he left him without a teacher and that, he's a bad guy and he deserves what he gets. So it was really tough, and the saddest thing that, we went to the bureau and everything, and no one could help us because they only redirected us, oh, you need to go to this place, we go to that place. So they said, oh no, you need to go to that place, so we go, and there's a loop, vicious circle that never ends.
Yes, agree. Moreover, when you do such a thing, when you accuse your worker, how we can help you to find a new worker? We even consider this like maybe we find another person to work at this place. So
Oh yeah, that's
he will
what's
not.
your boss requirement. He told like Roman that he needs to replace himself with someone. Then he will give him the release letter. And remember, he had many conditions. First, he said, "Oh, you need to work for 1 more month, and I'll give you. It's okay. I was not in the office, and I'll give you it next week. Oh, the stamp was not in the office, so after I come back." So he was like extending the time and just postponing it until maybe he hoped that the other company will not wait for Alina's husband. They'll just, drop their offer and everything, but it didn't happen. And Roma actually stood up for himself and fought for his release letter. Yeah, it was weird, cringe.
Yeah, that's true. And he even told us like, you need to work another year and then maybe I will provide you with this release letter. 1 more year in this condition when you know that your boss is such a jerk. This story about finding a new worker instead of Roma, a new coach, how we can introduce this place and say like, oh, this is a good place, nice boss, he's a nice person, go work there. They will hate us because he will do the same with the next coach and he won't let him go. So how we can help him? So when it's done, when he already told what he told, there is nothing we can change and help him. How's going on in your country? Is it really happens? I mean, is it hard or easy to go when you want to change the company? Do you get your reference letters easily, etc.?
Yeah, one thing that in China, you are not given an open work permit that you can freely go and choose any company you want to work with. You are relying on your boss. So basically he is an institution that is issuing the working visa for you, and if you want to quit your job, that means he will cancel your visa and you cannot stay in China anymore. And if you want to change the job, you need to transfer, and for that one you need the release letter and kind of like a letter from your previous boss that okay, he finished his job, I'm letting him go. Really sounds like Dobby got the sock,
Yes, that's true. You need to be very careful and you need to learn how to keep your relationship very nice and soothe your boss and everything. But I don't know, I don't feel it's right because I don't know, we all grown ups and like if I do my work well, this is enough. Another thing is that finally boss made up his conditions with which Roma can get his release letter. So, for example, one of them was to tell all the students and parents on the group chat that I am sick, his wife is sick, and he has to take care of me, and that's why he's leaving Shanghai. I don't know. I was so angry when Roma told me because come on, lying about his wife is ill. I don't know. Is it even a normal thing for a human being to say things like that?
I actually, when I worked in China, there was the same thing. When I just quitted my job, they told all parents that I went to Canada, even though I left for another like 2 years there, and I was living at the same place where the school was, and I saw those parents and kids sometimes and they were like, aren't you in Canada? I was like, no, I'm not. That was awkward.
Yeah, why even lying about that? So this person went to work.
I think it could be like telling something about the school and the boss, like maybe they were not good enough, so that's why the employees are leaving. So something tells about the structure. So in the eyes of parents, it will look like, oh, they failed or something went wrong there, so maybe their children should not attend this school or something. I think it's like this reputations thing. They want to prove that they're so cool, so everyone wants to work for them, and they want all the workers will be working there forever.
So be the good. And
that's another story.
Don't fake it.
Yeah.
Don't fake it. Just try to reach this level when everybody wants to work at your company. And this situation isn't an exception. A lot of my friends leave their companies with a scandal, and the administration and the school, they don't want to provide this release letter. So if you want to work in China, keep it in mind. Maybe it's good to have reviews from other teachers if they changed the company. Was it easy or hard? So it would be really helpful. Okay, Nastya, have you heard about similar situation? Maybe you faced it yourself?
Oh yeah, like I had a bad experience quitting one job in Beijing. It was actually one of my first jobs in China. And again, I gave 1 month's notice as they required, and I did find a teacher to substitute myself, like to replace. But that time I didn't rely on working visa, so that wasn't an issue. I was just not paid for 2 months of my work. That was the way they revenged on me for quitting.
Yeah, this boss also didn't pay the full salary. So this is also the thing, not just the documents, but also the money. Yeah, you need to be ready for that.
Today, I also wanted to share some stories that maybe some other people can relate. It's related to the renting apartment in China, especially in Shanghai. So before, like, it was mostly my husband who was renting all the apartments, and we used a service called The Room. It's an automated service. You can just book any appointment, go see apartment. If you like it, you sign the lease contract directly on your phone. So there is like no communication with landlords. It's an agency, and you're communicating only with their representatives. But then we wanted to change our apartment because the rent went high, and we thought it was a little bit too extreme. So we switched to another app, which kind of also looked like it's an agency, but in fact, they were working directly with landlords. So they didn't sign the long-term lease with landlords so they can, re-rent it to anyone they want. They actually just were the bridge between tenants and the landlord. So I found a really nice apartment, just like 2 stations away from us. It looked gorgeous in pictures. It was freshly renovated. It had the best tub, and those who those who used to live in China or is living in China can relate, right? That means a lot for us. So when I went there, like we made an appointment for seeing that apartment. So I met the agent downstairs of that apartment, right at the door, and he comes to me and he says, "The landlord will not show you this apartment." And I was like, "What? Was it rented out already? Am I late?" And he said like, "No, because he saw that you're a foreigner, so you're not allowed to come upstairs." And I was like,
They didn't even try to, hide the truth.
Yeah, he directly like spit it in my face. And there were like many situations when there was discrimination, by my appearance. When it's not hidden, it's not subtle, it's super direct. That's why I was shocked. Like first, I didn't know how to react to this. Like, do I need to be scandalous? Do I need to, to stand up for myself? But I needed an apartment. And he found a nice way to comfort me. He said, "Oh, there's another apartment right here. Just like I will drive you on my scooter. I'll share you a few more options." I was like, okay, so never mind. Maybe that. And he also comforted me. He said, "Oh, he's an old guy. Shanghainese people are weird." Which also tells, they're discriminative against each other too by the provinces. But never mind. He took me to another apartment, and when I entered it, honestly, I thought that he was joking, because I will put the pictures here. The condition of that apartment was awful. It really looked like it had, I don't know, no one has been living there for like 10 years. It's like dust everywhere. It was mud. There was like some dirty things in the toilet I've ever seen. And I was like, "How much is this one?" And he names the price, which is like was even more expensive than the perfect one. And he says, "Oh, it's not bad. You just need to clean it up. It will be nice." I was like, "No, it's not." And he's like, "Okay, let me show you the best one we have here." And I was already tired. I didn't want to see that one. And he kind of convinced me. So we go to the most luxurious apartment in that district. It's kind of like a new tall building. We go to the 20th floor. He opens that apartment and it literally feels like someone has died there. Again, I really thought I thought, he's kind of teasing me or something. And then he names the price, and that one was 15,000 RMB. It's not like in downtown, it's really far. And again, you will see in the pictures, like it had the dirty mattress with holes. It had so much clutter, and they said, "No, this is a good apartment." and this is the best one we have. And I said goodbye. And he said, you will never find an apartment for lower price. You'll regret this. And I was like, what was that? Like, I mean, do they do it to everyone? Like maybe some Chinese people who watch this video, have you ever met that? Or is it just because I'm a foreigner? Did he try, to fool me and just rent me some expensive shit? Let me know.
From my perspective, we never faced these problems because we always rented the apartment far away from the city center, and it's very cheap. And yeah, it was really hard to find nice apartment. I mean, with a good renovation, probably in the city center, when you pay a lot of money, at least you expect that people will respect you.
But it wasn't even the city center. It was like Dinka Road, like line 2. It wasn't that, like it was still Pudong. But yeah, I suspect it was because I was a foreigner, because that grandpa, that landlord set the mood, and this guy was like, oh, that's my chance. She's so upset I can rent her any shit I have there.
I think it's time to move to another story. And this story isn't funny at all.
Oh.
And when I think about it, I'm really got shivers on my skin because it's so hard. It's about child abuse, and I witnessed it myself, and I will share with you what did I do. One day I was at home retouching my pictures. At that time I was a photographer, and I just heard a terrible noise, and I was like looking at the window, and I saw a horrible scene where the woman was shouting at the girl, and then they fought, and then the mother started abusing the girl, and the girl was around, I don't know, 12 years old.
Don't do that! Don't do that! Do you hear?
What happened? I opened the window, I started filming it, and I was shouting through the window like, stop, what are you doing? I shouted in English because at that time I couldn't speak any Chinese, like even some simple phrases. I don't know, I was shocked, and I was like filming all the time. At some moment I started crying because she took a stick or something, like not the small one, the big one, and he advanced on her daughter. I was shouting at the top of my lungs, and she finally noticed me, because all the time when I was shouting, she didn't hear. And the other guy, he was also outside, and he was like pointing out at me and said, oh, look, someone is filming, stop. She dropped the stick finally, and when she dropped the stick and when she left the girl on the grass, I don't know, I stopped filming, and then I ran down the stairs and I approached the girl, and I was asking, are you okay? Because she was not okay. She was crying desperately. I was trying to ask someone for help. I was coming to people and asking, maybe we need to call the police, or maybe what we can do, but no one understood me. And some people just were like, don't pay attention, just don't waste your time, and they refused to help me to call the police. And finally there was a couple, they were just passing by, and they saw that I stopped and stayed with the girl. I explained what happened, I showed them the video, and they were like, oh, they just had quarreled, and with her mother something happened, and that's why it happened. But I was like, yes, you can have some, I don't know, misunderstanding with your parents, but this is not how you solve it, like with the stick and hitting each other and hitting the girl. And she was like, I don't know, she couldn't stop crying. So it happened like maybe for an hour or even more, because I stayed with her all the time. I went by her water, but she didn't touch it. And because she was like, I don't know, in her own world, and she was scared. I still think about this situation sometimes. What would you do at my place, and is it happen a lot in your country? Please share in the comments, so let's discuss this too. Nastya, have you seen something like this in China or maybe in other countries? And how
we didn't see the child abuse, but we dealt with this kind of situation. We actually tried to react to this. So one evening, my husband and I were walking our dogs outside in the yard, and we just heard the terrible, puppies squealing and, whining. And we just turned our gaze up, and on the second floor in the window, we clearly saw the guy was kicking a little Labrador. So my husband pissed, and he started shouting at that guy to stop and that he should not, hit the dog that way. And that guy, he got mad and he shouted back at my husband. Then we called the police and reported that he was abusing his dog, and that the dog was screaming. That guy went downstairs. They were almost started a fight. And when the police came, they said that if he was hitting our dog, that would be the case. Since he was hitting his own dog, that's not a problem. And then I asked the policeman, what if it was a child? And they said, again, if it's not your child, it's happening at their home, it's not past midnight, they're not causing any noise, then we will not intervene. Yeah, even maybe if you call the police, there would be not so much reaction. Maybe there are some social services that could, take a look at the parents and, their educational methods. But the police is useless in this case, in my opinion. Maybe, again, someone will share another story.
So I'm just wondering if this is the case of the law, and policemen they don't have any power to deal with these problems, or is this about their own personal decision not to help?
I think there is not a lot of law that protects animals in China, since they try to stop the meat festival so bad, but it's still happening every year, and only volunteers are actually doing something about it, not the government. But in terms of child abuse, I believe there are laws, but they would work when it gets extreme, like when someone really gets hurt and someone takes it further. If it's just like a quarrel in the street, I think that in Chinese culture, from what I learned here in Canada as educational psychology, in a collectivistic society, punishing physically, it's kind of not a normal thing, but it's common. Like, it happens to everyone, and some research does show that it doesn't traumatize children. However, it doesn't, consider children individually. Like, even within this culture, children are different. And for some child, a spank is not an issue, but for someone, it will be a big deal, and it will, impact the rest of their life. So it depends, I guess. I guess some kids, I believe that, I grew up in a society where almost every child could get spanked or physically punished. And some people and some children, they really show this resilience, and they grew up showing no trauma about that. But for some people, it could be really bad.
Yeah, I just want to share, make a little remark that when I was a child, why is this situation triggered me? When I was a child, I was abused by my parents, and it wasn't like a common situation that I come home and get beaten, but it happened maybe, 5-6 times during my childhood. And I remember that was the most scary days of my life, and it traumatized me. Yeah, okay, Nastya, so you have another story.
Yeah, but I think this video is already a little bit long, so maybe if you guys want to hear more stories from us, because I believe we can still dig out many of them, both positive and negative, let us know. And maybe if you have, how many likes do you want to have? Thumbs up under this video for part 2.
100, okay?
Oh,
100.
500.
okay. Level up.
Okay.
Don't underestimate yourself and your talent to tell the stories. I think we can collect 500.
Okay, 500.
Yeah, okay, so let's collect 500. and we will release.
Yeah,
second
we'll just
part.
shoot part 2.
Yeah.
Maybe if you don't want to see me here anymore, also let us know. So I will not bother Alina. It's like, oh, let's make another video. Maybe you're like, oh, please keep her
No,
away.
I want to see you. So no, even if people will tell me that they don't want,
I'll come for it.
because I want it. I like to talk to you, and I like to discuss these things because it's always
Yeah, I can
interesting.
relate.
Please be nice in the comments and let us know if you want to see the second part of the video. Okay, see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Пока-пока.